Alright, so as soon as you see these absolute value bars, what does that mean? That means this. That means it's a distance problem. There's going to be two answers. So you're anticipating two answers. Now, this distance is greater than or equal to a negative 98, but there's stuff outside of the distance. So you want to get rid of this stuff first. Do you get rid of the 1 or do you get rid of the minus 9? You get rid of the 1. So let me copy this down here. 1 minus 9 times the absolute value of 9p plus 7 greater than or equal to negative 98. Okay, get rid of the 1 first. Minus 1, minus 1. And you should have, that's now gone. Now you got just a negative 9 times the absolute value of 9p plus 7 is greater than or equal to a negative 99. Okay, now how do you undo the negative 9? You got to divide by a negative 9. You got to divide by a negative 9. Now this is a good problem because anytime you divide both sides of an inequality by a negative, you've got to change the direction of this inequality. So a negative on the left, a negative 9 divided by negative 9, that's just a positive 1. So now you just have this. You have the absolute value of 9p plus 7. I got to change the direction of my inequality, so it's now less than or equal to. And what's the negative 99 divided by negative 9? Positive 11. Okay, let me erase. So this right now, I'm going to erase all this stuff. So step number 1, get the absolute value bars all by themselves. That's what we've got. If we keep going, this is going to give us one of two answers. So let's keep going. You got to get p out by itself. Do you get rid of the 9 or the 7? Minus 7, minus 7. So now you have 9p is less than or equal to 4. Now you got to get rid of the 9. Divide by 9, divide by 9. P is less than or equal to 4 divided by 9. So if you get a fraction, don't stress out. I think that's right. So 4/9. You're going to have to also graph it on the number line. 4/9 is pretty close to 4/8. 4/8 is a half. A half is somewhere between 0 and 1, right? So just estimate. Somewhere between 0 and 1, circle it. And do you leave the circle empty or do you shade it in? Because it's equal to, less than or equal to, we're going to shade it in. And your answer is anything smaller than that or anything bigger? Anything less than. So my answer is going to be that way. Okay, now that's only one answer. I know I'm going to have two answers. I need to anticipate two answers. So the second answer, you have got to start right here. You don't start back at the very beginning. You start at the point that you got the absolute values all by themselves. So I got rid of the 1 and I got rid of the negative 9, and that's where I am. So for answer number 2, you're going to have absolute value of 9p plus 7. And you're going to change the direction of your inequality. It's going to be greater than or equal to, and it's going to be a negative 11. Now, don't forget, second time around, you got to change the direction of your inequality. So now let's minus 7, minus 7. So we've got 9p is greater than or equal to a minus 18. Divide by 9, divide by 9. P is greater than or equal to a negative 2. There is my answer number 2. So now you got to graph it. Negative 2 on the number line, circle it, fill it in. P is anything bigger, so it's going to go to the right. So they're going to meet in the middle. So your answer is going to be anywhere between a negative 2 and a 4/9. Anywhere in between there. Okay, here's what you got to do. Your instructions want you to come up with a line in slope-intercept form. So let's write it down. Y equals mx plus b. That's slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, pretty much you only need two things. You need to identify the slope and you need to identify the y-intercept. You need m and you need b. So keep that in mind. We're on the hunt for m and b. So let's start reading. Our line passes through this point. So what did they give us right here? What is this point, Ray? What did they just give us? They gave us just an x and a y. So look, every line has got thousands of points, millions and trillions. Every line's got an infinite number of points. See all these points? And then we connect the dots, right? This is just one of the points on our line. So it's an x and a y. Ray's totally right. Now, let's keep reading. Our line is parallel. Circle that word. That's a key word. What do you know about parallel lines? Okay. Huh? Same slope. Parallel lines have the same. That's a huge hint right there. So parallel lines have the same slope. So we're going to talk about two lines. We're going to talk about our line. This is our line right here. And we're going to talk about some other line. Okay? The other line goes through these two dots right here. So if they give us those two dots, the other line is going through, what are we going to do with those two dots? Right here. What are we going to do with these guys? We're going to find the slope. How are we going to find the slope? Do you remember this? Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. That's from chapter 2. So they gave us two x's and two y's. That's what the sub 1 and sub 2 means. So let's subtract them. Let's go negative 4, because that's my y. Subtract my other y. Divided by my x minus my x. Alright. So what is a negative 4 minus 7? Your numerator is negative 11. What's your denominator? 0. Now, this is another hint. This is a huge hint. What's a negative 11 divided by 0? What's a negative 11 divided by 0? It is undefined. No. Yes. Because look at this. Look at this right here. What is 8 divided by 4? 2. Because, go backwards. 2 times 4 equals 8, right? So what number times 0 is going to give you 11? There's nothing. There's no such number. So if you've got 0 on the bottom, that is undefined. Now that's a huge hint. In your mind, as soon as you see undefined, what are you starting to think? What kind of a line has a slope that's undefined? That's it. Vertical. So let's draw a picture. Let's draw a picture real quick. If you have a coordinate plane, a y-axis, x-axis, look at these two dots. If you go over 2 and down 4, over 2, down 4, you got a dot right there. And if I go over 2, up 7, draw yourself a picture. This is a vertical line. So this line that our line is parallel to is vertical. So what does our line look like? Our line has to be vertical. If their slope is undefined, what's our slope? So we got it. Write it down. Our slope is undefined. So here's what you got to connect. 0 on the bottom of a fraction. That means undefined. Ezra, undefined means vertical line. Last thing you need to connect is what is the equation of this line? The equation is x equals ours. Yeah, ours is going to be. This one's x equals 2. X equals 2 for this guy because it only goes through the x-axis right here. It does not even touch the y-axis. So there's only going to be an x. And then you just, the 2, because we went over 2. That's where it goes through the x-axis. So our equation is also going to be x equals, but what is it? X equals, where does ours go through? Ours goes through at x equals 4. So if you plot this dot over 4 down 6, over 4 down 6 is going to be somewhere right here. And if it's parallel, it will also be vertical. And the equation is x equals 4 because that's where it goes through the x-axis. So that's a pretty sweet problem. Now, let's do the second half. Let's start where it says also. Also, write an equation of the line that passes through the same point. So I guess I shouldn't have erased this. The same point's over here. Over 4, down 6. I had a line right there. Then I had a parallel line a little bit over here. So, write another equation of a line that passes through the same point, that's right here, but is perpendicular. And perpendicular is the key word. What do you know about perpendicular? Yeah, Alberto. So what's perpendicular to a vertical line? A horizontal. So this line is going to go like this. Okay. What is the equation of this guy right here? Y equals -6. Because it only goes through the y-axis and it goes through the y right here at -6.